We're getting in some breaking news now, and the first flight, though, has landed in Jamnagar. That's the Indian Air Force flight that landed with the diplomatic staff, including the ambassador from India to Afghanistan. We are being told that before the evacuation actually happened, there was some obstruction from the Taliban. The Taliban tried to obstruct the Indian evacuation process, and that's the breaking news update coming in. Embassy staff and the envoy were blocked, and India had to intervene, and India had to speak to the Taliban commanders to ensure that our diplomatic staff and even the ambassador could reach the airport in the first place. So that's the big breaking news update that's coming in. India and Indian diplomats, our staff, the ambassador included, was stopped at the embassy by the Taliban, and India had to intervene and speak to Taliban commanders to pull out our staff from there and bring them to the airport even. So that's the breaking news update that I have. Let me see if Shivani can come in with some more details. Shivani, what more are you picking up?
Niranjan, what we are learning now is that when the evacuation process, the whole procedure was going on yesterday, that is on Monday, because we know that the mission started on Sunday itself. One flight had come yesterday to India, another C-17 that had landed yesterday, that was taking all these embassy people on board, and that was obstructed by the Taliban commanders, and that's why we were expecting this flight to reach late night yesterday, but it could not reach. Perhaps this is the reason, Niranjan, why it got delayed. And in today morning, this could happen, and the flight could take off from Kabul. We are, in fact, right now outside the Air Force station in Hindan, Ghaziabad, where this flight is expected to land in some time from now. But what we are learning is that the Indian diplomats, they had to negotiate with these Taliban commanders who tried to obstruct the evacuation process that was taking place in Afghanistan's Kabul airport. And we also know that there were ITBP personnel also who were fully prepared to tackle the whole situation, but the negotiations were done with the Taliban commanders, and after which they pulled out from the evacuation site from where these people were getting implaned. We know the embassy members, including the ambassador in Kabul, has already landed in India, and he has also thanked the Indian Air Force for completing this mission successfully. But he also said the situation on ground was really harsh.
Major Arya, we are being told that the Taliban commanders refused to allow our diplomatic staff, proceed towards the airport in Kabul, and it was after some sort of talks and negotiations that we were eventually allowed to leave our mission and proceed towards the Kabul airport. Now, that's the situation. That's the situation on the ground, and hundreds more Indians are trapped there. How do you see the situation panning out?
See, I think one must speak, speak directly to the Taliban, Niranjan, speak to them and say that we need a 1-week window, a 4-day window, and we are evacuating everybody. Send 20 planes a day if need be. Evacuate everybody. Take permission of Taliban. Send our security personnel there and get them out, because things will deteriorate very fast now. I'm told by certain unnamed sources that, this entire new face of Taliban is not something that the Taliban rank and file, their low-level cadre really likes. These people are used to rape, plunder, and pillage, and that is what they had thought about, when they had entered Kabul, that they would go as victorious, as in the medieval armies, pick up whatever they wanted, man, child, woman, whatever. But now that's not happening. Taliban's top brass is enforcing some sort of discipline, and Taliban is not a very disciplined force. So this will crack, and before this happens, this must be done on an emergency footing. One plane a day is clearly not enough. Put in 25 planes, does not matter, charter planes from private airlines. Send them there and get our people out, and just have a word with Taliban and tell them that we need 3 days, 4 days. And by 3-4 days, we'll get everybody out. We need your help. Pay them money if they desire. Pay the Taliban money and get our people out, because this will bank, and I'm telling you, Niranjan, I'm convinced of this fact that this truce is tenuous, it will not hold.
Yeah. Thank you, Major Arya, for speaking to us, and we will continue to come back to you. We have some more pictures coming in, but let's go across to Sushant Sareen as well, joining us on the phone line. Sushant, getting in news that our, as expected, Taliban tried to obstruct our diplomatic staff from reaching the airport in the first place, and that we had to negotiate before they eventually reached Jamnagar. How do you see India dealing with the situation? For now, they've spoken to the Taliban commanders, but it's certainly a sign of things to come.
Yeah, so I don't think we should have expected anything better. And all those people, who've been saying that we should continue to hold on in Afghanistan, try and see how things are going to work out. I think, all our suspicions about the Taliban seem to be coming true. Now, whether this move was by the Taliban themselves or, one of their Pakistani masters instructed one of these local commanders to obstruct, Indian diplomats or Indian evacuation mission. I think that is something which we will have to wait and see how, this thing pans out, because I don't think all our evacuation missions are over as of now. We might have pulled out a substantial number of people, but I think there are still some evacuation flights which might be on the anvil. So if this becomes a pattern, and if this is something which continues to happen, then of course it tells us a lot about, the lies which the Taliban spokesman, Suhail Shaheen, who has been spouting lies to the rest of the world throughout, and including to Indian channels, that they have absolutely no issues with Indians and Indians should stay back. I think it puts a lie to all of that. So that is one part of it. But more importantly, and more significantly, I think it is the amount of influence which the Pakistanis exercise on these puppets of theirs called the Taliban, which seems to be coming out. If they don't exercise that level of influence on the Taliban, then the Taliban leadership should ensure that there is no obstruction to any of the evacuation flights. But if there is obstruction, then it clearly tells us that it's the Pakistanis.